Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. That sun got me looking real brown. But y'all, today is March the 11th, and I am on my way to my very first business meeting. So, I'm gonna get into all of that, but I'm going to title this part of the message, Let God Give You the Desires of Your Heart. Give to Receive Part 2. Right? Because I can't remember all what I said in that first video, but I ain't said nothing about none of this because this is all new. And so the concept of giving to receive in the way that I want to talk about is just giving things back to God, giving your promises to God, giving your tears to God, giving your heart's desires to God, giving your business plans to God, giving your ideas to God, giving yourself to God, right? Because this is actually where it's going to hit about me giving myself to God. So let's just go back to, in that video, Give to Receive. Remember, I told y'all about the Google program manager job and how I really, really wanted it. I felt like it would have been one of my dream jobs and whatnot. And I told y'all that I was very, very adamant about going back into IT project management or program management. Like, that's what I wanted to do. Well, I don't think that's what God wants me to do. So I've only been applying. Well, no. So I applied to some health promotion consultant jobs in the very beginning when I first got laid off. I applied to these within my own company. But then I went back into applying to IT program and project management jobs. And then that's just where I've been at, because I thought I was just going to go back into that. Like, I know God intends for me to be a business owner. I just did not feel like it was right now. So I was just focused on getting the money. So let me go back to the health promotion consult. I applied to that job because God started bringing back to me my childhood dream of me owning my own clinic. So when I was younger, I've always been very in tune with my body, meaning I know when something is going up. So, let's just talk about a little TMI real quick. Ladies, we have stuff like yeast infections, UTI, bacterial vaginosis. And if you have experienced those things, you'll know that you can get those things outside of sexual contact. Like, you don't have to be intimate with a man, or you don't have to be intimate to receive those type of things. Like, you can get it from a certain body wash. You can get it from not drinking enough water. Like, you can get it from wearing too tight clothing and sweating. Like, all it is like bacterial vaginosis is the overgrowth of the bacteria, good and bad, and fungi. Yeast infections is the overgrowth of yeast. So our body naturally is supposed to have those things, but when it grows too much, that's when you get bacterial vaginosis and yeast infections. So I grew up knowing what those things were and knowing how to combat it. So for me, I know the difference between all three. I know when I got whichever one I got, I know which one it is. A lot of women don't know that, or a lot of women might think it's a healthy discharge, or they don't know the real thick and creamy discharge that you have. That might not be, if it's too thick, that's a yeast infection. A lot of women don't know that. If it's almost clear, but you have a fishy odor, that's bacterial vaginosis, that's BV. A lot of people don't know that. And again, you don't have to have those things from sexual contact, but I feel like they're so talked about in a negative way, and not a lot of people have insight and education about it, that women just won't be treated because they don't want to be judged, because they might be looked at as nasty, or they don't want to bring it up to their partners because they don't want to be looked at as who you've been sleeping with. Or even a man that you're interacting with, they don't want to bring it up to you that you have this smell or something don't look or seem right, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, or they don't want you to know that they've been messing with other people. Like, whatever the case may be, it's just people don't have the proper education around it. But I've always known it. And so I've always wanted to open a clinic in African American communities. I wanted to open a gynecology clinic because I wanted to educate women on their bodies. Because I truly hate when you see somebody posting stuff online, posting, oh, she got a discharge. If you're gonna go, you look, see, I'm trying, posting, oh, she got a discharge, she nasty, oh, she got a smell, she nasty. Whole time, all she did was wash with her sister body wash, or all she did was wash with her boyfriend body wash. But you have people so immature who will pick on stuff like that, and I never liked that. So I always wanted to be able to educate women and little girls on their body so that they don't be ashamed about stuff like that, and they seek the proper treatment for it. For a yeast infection, you can use Monistat, which is in the drugstore, that's on the aisles. For a bacterial vaginosis, you want to take an antibiotic, you have to get a prescription for that. For a UTI, you have to get an antibiotic for that. Naturally, most times I'm able to flush it out by drinking a lot of water, because a lot of time for me, it just comes from me not drinking a lot of water. And it's different ways to resolve those issues and not have no shame, because it's very natural. So I always want to own a clinic to educate women on that so they don't feel bad. And it was a childhood dream of mine when I was younger. But when the pandemic happened, I changed my mind. What is happening here? When the pandemic happened, I changed my mind because I always wanted to work. Well, I didn't change my mind about owning a clinic. I just wanted to own a clinic as a nurse practitioner. I wanted to practice medicine. But after, when the pandemic first hit, my son was like a year old. And you remember how scared people were about it? And I'm like, yo, I'm too family oriented. Like, outside of being scared because of an unknown disease, I remember when hospital staff was firing people who did not want to get the vaccine. And I thought about it, how a lot of these people, they spend so much time in the hospital, in the emergency room, in that type of setting. They spend more time treating your family than they spend time being present with their own family. So they're missing their son's soccer game, or they're missing their daughter's ballerina performance because they're at work working 12 to 15-hour shifts. And because I'm so family oriented, I was just like, yeah, I can't do that. Like, I would never be comfortable missing anything of my son's. I'm just not like that. I'm not built like that. It's nothing, if that worked for you in your situation, that worked for you. But I don't plan to give more of myself to my job or to a company than I do to my son. That'll never happen. And I've been on that, and God know that. So I stopped doing that, and then I just started doing project management stuff. So God been bringing it back around to me, but I thought that maybe I would just be running it as like the manager and owner. Like, I'm going to hire my own doctors. I'm going to hire my nurses. I'm going to hire all these people. I'm not working it. So fast forward. That's why I had applied to the health promotion consultant job last year in November. All right, so cool. So let's talk about 2 Sundays ago. My church that I attend, they had this hosting the Saturday before this Sunday. They had a hosting called Business as Usual, where they asked all the vendors, everybody who sells a business or who does business related stuff, so they sell stuff or whatever, they told them to come to the church that Saturday. They had all the vendors set up. They had people, buying stuff, selling stuff. The pastor's husband talked to them, gave them some gems about business and stuff. Like, it was a whole good thing. And the only reason why I didn't go is because I thought it was later in the month. I forgot. I didn't know that it was March 1st. But on March 2nd, they ended up having some of those same vendors outside. So one of the very first vendors that I talked to, she's the very first one. She has an education consulting business. And so what she does is she help you if you want to go to school, she's going to help you find a school, she's going to help you find a program, she's going to help you with finding scholarships, financial aid, she's going to help you with all of that. I looked at this lady in her eye. I was like, what you do? She told me that. I said, oh, you ain't got to worry about me because I ain't going back to school. I said, you ain't got to worry about me. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. The very next day, when I was walking, I was on my 3-mile walk, and I just had this unction. I had this feeling, y'all, that I was going to be the practicing nurse practitioner in my doctor's office. It was going to be me. It wasn't going to be nobody. I mean, I might hire additional ones, but it's going to be me. And so I asked God, like, so you want me to go back to school to be a nurse? And he confirmed it. Y'all, God will make you out to be a liar. Because I just told that lady the day before, I'm not going back to school. And the very next day, God said, you going back to school to be a nurse. And he confirmed it. So this was on March 2nd, I believe he confirmed it. Whatever that Sunday was. It was the 3rd. It was the 3rd, March 3rd. So he confirmed it, March 3rd, that I'm supposed to be a nurse. Okay, cool. So I was looking into what nursing school I'm going to be at and what programs I got to do. And I asked him, because there's so many schools out there, so many programs being offered. I asked him, Lord, please confirm to me what school you want me to go to. And I said, show me twice. Show me the name twice. And he showed me this name, so I know what school that I'm supposed to go to. But there are 7 courses that I have to take before I can enroll into their nursing program. And their acceptance into their nursing program it seems so easy because, I graduated in 2020. A lot of the schools, they won't accept your credits if your credits are over a certain age. I ain't been in school in 5-6 years, so they absolutely over a certain age limit. Y'all not going to accept these, and I would almost have to start all the way over. But the school that I'm going to, and I even spoke to somebody, I don't have to do too much. Even where my GPA was, which it was trash, even with where my GPA is, if I take those 7 courses and I can show them that I'm real serious about being in school, I could still be accepted. I don't got to take no testing. I don't got to have no testing scores or nothing. I got to have a resume. I got to have the 7 courses. I got to have my transcript. And I have to have the application and $50. That's it. Simple. So God confirmed the school to me. So I'm going to take these 7 courses starting. I'm really going to try to start in summer. In the summer, it's so I could take maybe 1 or 2 this summer. And then I want to be done by fall so that I can enroll into the nursing program next fall. So, okay, cool. So on March 6th, God had me to call my female best friend, and she's a realtor. God had me to call her. Now, right now, she works. She has a 9-to-5, but she also has been doing her business of fix and flips. So, which was one of the dreams that I had. I wanted to start doing fix and flips, but I wanted to do it as just for fun. Like, I don't, I want to make money from it, but it was never going to be like no serious thing for me. But so she's doing that, and I called her one day and we just start talking, and she mentions how she's decided that she's not going to sell all her fix and flips. Some of them she may keep around and allow for women in domestic violence situations or homeless women to live in them. And then she said, and I was even thinking about you, like being a life coach in there and like helping them and assisting them, like, helping them figure out their life and their next move and stuff like that. I never saw myself being in that type of setting. I never saw that for myself, like being able to help people in that way. Now, God did tell me about a marriage ministry when I got married. Me and my husband would be marriage counselors, but I never saw myself as being anything like that outside of a marriage. You know what I'm saying? I never saw myself being a counselor or anything like that in any type of way. I always felt that I would be like coaching women, but I felt like it would be through my podcast. Because I even had a woman's podcast being formed. Like, I have the idea of that. I have so many business ideas. It's not even funny. So I never saw myself as doing that outside of my marriage. I thought counseling would only be done when I was married. I never thought about it now. So the seed was planted on March 6th. March 7th, a business name came to me. I still didn't know what it was going to be about. I just got the business name. All I did was look it up, see if it was taken. It's not taken. I wrote it down. That's on March 7th. That night, I was with my best friend, and she ended up talking about like how she is trying to do strategy consulting and stuff. The conversation, how we taught y'all, it just started coming together. It just started coming together to where I knew what that business was going to be. So not only do I have the name, but I have the concept of the business. I have the different areas that I would be working in. That was on March 7th. On March 8th, we have an in-depth conversation because we decided this may be something that we can do together. So we decided we may have a consultant or consulting business together where we are the consultants and even may be able to bring in other consultants as well. So we have this idea. We working towards it, y'all. That's March 8th. That's March 8th. March 8th, I'm looking up all the different certificates we may need to have. I'm looking up all the different type of consultants there are. Like, I'm looking all this stuff up. March 9th, in church, I gained my first client. My very first client. Now, mind you, this is not a paid thing. I didn't quote her no price because y'all, the thing is going so fast. I don't even have time to like look into all of that. So, but this is my first client. So I'm going to my very first business meeting. And what I would be doing is talking to her. So when I got in church on Sunday, I went and sat down and I seen this lady that actually sits in the area where I usually sit at. And God said, go over there and hug her. But when I heard him say that, I was crying already. So I'm like, this will be a little weird. I'm crying, she crying. I go over there and hug her. We're going to be over there bawling and making a mess. I just can't. So the pastor ended up talking to us about businesses. So the thing for this month is talking about businesses. It's titled from struggling to stacking. So so the pastor was asking people, what's keeping you from starting your business? And the lady answered, and she said, the pastor asked, what's the seed God gave you? What's the business idea God gave you? And she said, writing a book. And the pastor asked her, well, what's stopping you? And she said, I don't know where to start. Immediately, God said, you're going to talk to that lady. You're going to talk to that lady after church. So after church was done, I went and talked to her. And, we talked a little bit about what she do, what I do. And we actually had another conversation later on Sunday after church because I called her by accident. She called me back. But essentially, she's my very first client. She's my very first coaching client. And I want you all to think about the timeline of all of this. All of this started from March 6th. Today is March 11th. All of this, I'm talking about the business name, the concepts, the partnerships, the clients, all of that in a matter of 4 days, y'all. 3 days at that time because it was March 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, so forth. 4 days. All this in a matter of 4 days. Fast. When it's from God, it comes fast. And so the idea of you want to give of yourself or you want to give up your ideas is because, y'all, I ain't never saw myself being no strategy consultant, no business consultant, no life coach. I never saw that for myself. But this is what God saw for me. This is what God wanted me to do. And God keeps showing me the scripture, 1 Peter chapter 4, it's at the bottom, but it talks about using your gifts. And it says, do you have the gift to speak? Then speak. If you have the gift to help, then help. And God is saying, like, daughter, all the experience that you have, all the things that you have been through, even though you ain't where you want to be, and even though you ain't where you feel like you need to be to start a business, I'm telling you, you can start that now. You have the ability to start it now. You don't need nothing else other than your word, other than your wisdom, other than prayer, other than the skills and tools that I've already given you. That's all you need right now. You don't need nothing else. And so give up your ways, y'all. Give up your ideas. I'm supposed to be, in my head, I'm supposed to be applying to IT project management jobs and doing IT project management and program management stuff. I'm not supposed to be trying to do no business consultant, and especially for myself. I ain't never wanted to be no business consultant. What you mean? But I gave up. I gave up my way. I gave up what I wanted. I gave up what I thought was best for God. And look at how fast all of that came together. Look at how fast all that came together, y'all. 4 days. 4 days. And I got my very first client. So, you know, I'm about to get out the car in a minute to go meet her because we're going in a coffee shop. But be willing to give up what you think is the right way, what you think is what you need, what you think is what you want. Be willing to give that up so that God can do more for you than you can do for yourself. Because guess what? If that business plan that you want to do and that idea that you want to do so bad, it's not from God, there's nothing that's going to be able to get you there. Y'all, I've been applying to all IT project management jobs since I got fired. Since I got laid off, minus the 2 health promotion consultant jobs that I applied to within my company, all I have applied to is IT project management, and I have not gotten nowhere. I just got an interview, and I don't even think I'm gonna get those. But I already told God, like, if this ain't what you want, and if this is not gonna serve you in the way that you want it to serve you, close that door. I don't want it, because I only want what's gonna help me right now. I only want what's gonna help me do your will. So if it's not going to help me in no type of way, I don't want it. Take it away. Close it. So, yeah, hopefully this was not all over the place. I don't think it was. But, yeah, just be willing to give up your way. And be willing to give up what you want. Be willing to give up what you think you're supposed to have or where you think you are supposed to be right now. And let God do what he's trying to do, y'all. We have to learn to be flexible. Hey, y'all. So I'm just leaving my business meeting. And I just find it funny how we were just talking about deliverance. And one of the churches over here is called True Deliverance. And the other one said something about Crusade Freedom. Freeman. Crusade Freeman Church of the Deaf. But yeah, so y'all, my business meeting went really well. You know, Holy Spirit was so present in it. He was so present, and it can't be denied. It can't be faked. It was present. So yeah, the whole point of this is to just give your wants, give your plans, give your desires to God, and let God lead you with them. And y'all, you know, it is very difficult sometimes, because we a lot of time we feel like the things that we want to do is stuff that God already placed in our heart. Like, God, I never wanted to do this. You put me in this. Like, for instance, I never wanted to work IT project management until I got my project management job, the IT project management job, and I learned it real fast, and it just became something that was very interesting to me. So after that, I thought, like, oh, okay, like this what he want me at, like, this is really good for me. And now to know that that's possibly not the case, like, that is a big adjustment for me, because I thought that that's what he wanted for me. I thought that's what, you know, he put me in, right? He put me in that IT project management field. That's not a field that I chose on my own. So it's not always easy giving it back to God. It's not always easy giving an idea back to God, a business plan back to God, a business venture back to God, your spouse, your husband or wife. It's not always easy. Your kids, your friends, your friendships. It's not always easy, but God reveals so much in those things, in those moments after you give it back to him. Because like I said before, I've said this before, but a lot of the time, y'all, God will not reveal certain things that he wants us to do or certain pathways he has for us, because we already have our minds made up about what we want to do. And God is not finna argue with you about what he wants you to do. You either gonna do what he wants you to do, or you're not gonna do it. If he knows that you are not in the right place to receive what he wants you to do, he's not gonna tell you. And I told this to my best friend before, when it came to the marriage thing, like, you know, you already got in your mind that you're not gonna be with me, or you already got in your mind how you feel about this situation. God is not finna tell you nothing else, because your mind is already made up about what you want to do. And as much as you're saying, God, use me and lead me in the way that you should go, he knows whether you mean that for real or whether you just saying that because it sound good. So he knows when you're not ready to do the very thing that he wants you to do, and he's not going to force you. God will tell you all day long. He wants you to be willing. He wants you to be willing and obedient to do the things that he wants you to do. He's not trying to force you or persuade you or have you be like, well, Lord, if you do this, then I'll do this. And he don't want none of that. He wants you to do it and know and understand that you're possibly going to suffer, but he still wants you to be willing because you love him and because you want to please him. So, yeah, I probably wasn't in the space to receive the business consultant idea. I wasn't in the life coaching idea. I wasn't in a place to receive it. I'm gonna tell you when I received it. When my best friend said about her business and how she might want me, or how she wants me to be like a life coach in there, I received that seed. Because I told her, I said, it's so funny that you say that, because there is nobody in my family that would ever say something like that about me. There's nobody in my family around me that would ever think that about me. And she said, girl, sometimes the people that's around us, they can't see that. And that's something that I already know. But in that moment when she said that, I received that seed. And that's why God began to water it immediately, because I received it. Because I didn't think that it was too good for me, or I just wasn't capable of doing it. I immediately received what she said to me. Immediately. It was no questions asked. I felt honored that she even felt that way about me. Because sometimes I'm such a hard critic of myself. I'm like, girl, you are not prepared to be talking to nobody's child. You're not prepared to be talking to nobody about nothing. You can't coach nobody in nothing. And meanwhile, that's a whole thing that God had for me that I didn't even know and didn't even see about myself. I gave up my way, though. I gave up my identity. Yeah, I gave up how I felt about myself. I gave up what I thought about myself. I gave up the plans that I had, and I'm constantly giving them up. So, you know, you gotta seek God and let God show you who you are and stuff like that. So yeah, y'all, that was it. That's all I had. I'm gonna sit down and finish this series, but right now it's just a lot going on, and I just want to stay focused. So you guys enjoy the rest of y'all's day. Happy Tuesday. Y'all stay blessed and get in God's business so he can get in yours.